What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Blue Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope you all having a great day. Tomorrow starts week 11 already in the NFL season. We close the week out, of course, Monday Night Football with the Raiders. And tonight I did something a little bit different than I usually do. DMV ended up texting me a couple days ago and said, hey, want to go, what's you on with CFO Sports with Rome and Boss Cowboys, and we want to go ahead and say, the subject being, is the season over? Are we building for the future? What, live stream together. And we went on tonight, and one of the things that came across, one of the topics there was leadership on the defense. Here's where it's actually kind of interesting that, or it fits, because I kept saying, we got 11 guys. Don't call it a defense. It's 11 guys. And a lot of times it seems like the 11 guys are kind of doing their diddly dee, their own thing. Sam Williams seems like he's out of position a lot of times where it seems like the defense would be calling for him to set the edge and make sure nothing gets past him, but sometimes he's inside with the tackle. And here we have this humongous gap that a quarterback does a bootleg and can take off, or is sitting there wide open, unmolested to survey and hit a bomb down the field. And I don't mean to just throw Sam Williams under the bus. It seems like a lot of times guys are out of position. And that some of that is because it's new. We've got so many new players. We got all new coaches. And it takes time to learn all your positions. And I think part of that problem is they're thinking much in the same way when we had Mike Nolan and Jalen Smith would say it's too complicated. And you see guys that seemingly are standing flat-footed because they don't know where they should be, or they're thinking about where they need to be. And see, the thing is, in football, it's got to be a reaction. You can't think. There's not enough time to think. You just got to know. But that's not what I was really thinking on. One of the problems with the defense over the last couple of years has been the leadership. You had D-Law, who was, in fact, after Sean Lee, was kind of the defensive leader. The Hot Boys. Oh, God, I hated that. I hated the Hot Boys. God, I hated the Hot Boys. But he was, the guy that in like 2020, when the defense was stinking, he was out there saying, I'll call it soft. We're playing soft out here, like Charmin. When we were getting ready to play New Orleans and nobody thought we had a chance, he was the one that said, it's hard to be great when you get punched in the mouth. And he was the leader. And then you had Micah Parsons come through, who was a great player. And you would think because they're a great player that they're the leader. But that's not always the case. And I think that there's been a leadership vacuum. And now, of course, both of those guys are gone. And so when you look at it right now, there seems to be a leadership on the defense vacuum. It's not Kenneth Murray or Jack Sanborn, those guys who just got here. It's definitely not Diggs. Diggs, who's kind of been the outcast on the team. Maybe it's Deron Bland, but I don't know with the way he was tripped up against the Cardinals. But who is the de facto leader on the team? And you need a guy that people are going to look up to. And maybe that guy just got here. Just got here. Quinton Williams. You know what's, and this is where we as Cowboy fans end up saying, do this, do that. And then when we do it, then people are pissed off. I remember a lot of people saying, Zeke's a bust, man. Paying him too much money. We need to get rid of his ass. And as soon as we got rid of him, they're like, oh man, we should never got rid of Zeke. It's like, wait a minute. Hey, you were just saying we should get rid of him. And then we do, and then you're second guessing. Looking at the Micah Parsons situation, the Cowboys did something different. Typically, they would just go ahead and pay their superstars and not worry about anything else. And people would say, don't pay him, trade him. Well, they didn't pay him, and they trade him, and people are pissed off. If you paid him, oh, you paid him too much money, man. We should have got rid of him. There's no win for the Cowboys. Well, actually, there's a win. There's a win. They still get paid, so there's that. But now that you've gotten these two out of here, and you've got this leadership vacuum, this void, that they need somebody to step in. And Quinton Williams might be the guy to do it. When I look at New England's defense for many years now, the biggest constant there has been Chris Jones. Now, I don't know Kansas City like I know the Cowboys. I'm assuming that Chris Jones is the leader out there and the guy that people follow. That he's the one that's out there motivating and putting foots in asses. I don't know, but I would assume that because that is a guy that you look at and say, I want to be like him. And I don't think most of you understand how important those interior defensive linemen are. The teams that end up having just the great pass rushers, they're not the ones making it to Super Bowls. The Eagles did not have an elite pass rusher. They had a great interior defensive line. And that's what they've had that's carried them a long ways. So, hopefully, if it's not Quinton Williams, I hope somebody steps into it. The other question was, is this season over? No, it's not. Maybe it doesn't end the way you want it to, but you can look at it from this point forward and say, every week is playoffs. It's a must win. If we're going to keep our playoff hopes alive, it's a must win. I don't think we can lose more than one game. So every week, it is playoffs. So, that's all I have to say about that. And I am going to carry my butt to bed. I'm kind of mad at myself because last night they were talking about the aurora, the magnetic storm that hits like the top of the earth, and it causes the colorful skies. And I thought about last night going out and seeing it because here in the mountains, if you go up on the mountains, the ridge and everything else, you get away from the light pollution. You might have a chance to see it. They said, use your cell phone. You could capture it. Turns out, last night, around 11, 12, 1 o'clock last night, it was incredible. Incredible. They said you could see with the naked eye. And you're seeing everybody posting their pictures and everything else. And all I had to do was ride 10 miles up the mountain and sit out in the cold, and I could have seen it. But they said it was going to be 2 nights. Well, turns out the sky, the solar winds aren't going the right direction to carry the radiation down further south. So I missed it. Oh well. No point in crying over spilled milk or missed auroras. At least we got Facebook with plenty of pictures. Good night, good people. I appreciate you guys as always. And remember, always tell the people you love how much you love them. We've lost so many incredible people. And there's no rhyme or reason. You can be young, you can be old. So make sure you don't waste your time. Make sure you tell the people you love how much you love them. Because you might not get the chance again. And I love y'all. Peace.